Tomorrow, if you visit KTIK.com at 9 a.m., we're giving you $50 to Deja Brew Bistro. You only give us 25, we give you 50. That's how our sweet deals work, and you got it tomorrow at 9 a.m. Prater, we will open up the Double Tap Pub hotline possibly, talk to some folks about what they think about Montell Cozart, maybe the future of the Big Ten, but not right now. We are just going to go, you and I, and we'll bring former Boise State quarterback Montell Cozart on here in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The 2017 season and what happened there, it was a true quarterback, two-quarterback system, and Brian Harsin was not messing around. I went back and looked at that season opening game against Troy, by the way, which started with Avery Williams' 81-yard kickoff or a punt return. I believe he was a walk-on that offseason who had just gotten a scholarship. First series of the entire 2017 season, he takes the ball to the house. Troy went 4 and out. All of a sudden, here comes Troy on another long possession. Troy ran like 15 plays that season in that season opener before Boise State even got its hands on the ball. Here comes Brett Rypien, and he has 3 plays. They lose the ball on downs. Troy goes out, loses the ball on 3 downs. Boise State's second series of the game, Brett Rypien comes out. He throws a complete pass for 17 yards to Ryan Wolpen, and he's benched. And here comes Montell Cozart.
That's how crazy it was. And you're right, they made it work. That Boise State team won a conference championship 2017. They won 11 games to 3 losses, 11-3. And Montell Cozart, Prater, played in all 14 games. He threw a pass in all 14 games. He ran the ball in all 14 games, except the bowl game. He did not have a rushing attempt, but he played.
Yep.
He was the 3rd leading rusher on the team. He had a 10-1 touchdown pass to interception ratio on that season.
Yep.
Completed 63% of his passes. I mean, credit to Brian Harsin, that team. Credit to Brett Rypien's ego. It never felt like it became a thing, but they made it work with a 2-quarterback system, and Bronco Nation is hoping that Andy Avalos and Bush Hamden have the same success.
Yeah, and there was early hiccups in that season, too. The Washington State game, which both of them played. Obviously, Brett Rypien gets hurt, and Montell has to kind of finish it out. That road trip to Virginia certainly didn't turn out very well. Brian Harsin's quoted, yeah, we've got 2 quarterbacks who can play, and as we move forward, we've got to figure out how to use both of them in our game plan. And he said it's just like everybody else, wide receivers, running backs, everybody's going to get opportunities to get involved in our offense. So Brian Harsin didn't treat the quarterback any different than he does other positions. We rotate wide receivers, we rotate running backs, we rotate offensive linemen, and Brian Harsin was not afraid to rotate quarterbacks. Montell Cozart, 4 years at Kansas, he brought him in. Brett Rypien certainly established as a starter at Boise State. And kudos to Brian Harsin, who took both of them, put them on the field for almost every game. Brett Rypien missed the one game because of that concussion, but they played every single game, and it truly did work.
That almost didn't feel like a controversy. Now, Prater, I was doing shows in Oregon that year. I was not in this town. You obviously were. Was the term quarterback controversy used throughout that year? It was.
Yeah, absolutely it was. And I think it was early on when we kept thinking, what's going on here? Why is he doing this? What's going on here? And I think toward the end of the season, certainly in the second half of the season, and when Boise State was having success, it worked. And it worked beautifully. It worked brilliantly. And it worked because, as what you just said, Brett Rypien was the giving teammate. Montell Cozart just came in and was happy to be playing football and found an environment that he liked. We'll hear from him in his own words here in just a second. But because Brian Harsin was able to pull it off and had the guts to try to pull it off, and then the 2 quarterbacks who worked together beautifully, those 3 made it work. We need to find out if the 3 parts are going to work at San Jose State this Saturday and beyond, but 2017 is the beautiful blueprint.
What do you remember about that 2017 2-quarterback system that Brian Harsin used to win a Mountain West championship? Text us, Cloverdale Plumbing text line 208-424-9300. Prater, let's bring in our guest. He is currently a quarterback for the Houston Gamblers of the USFL. He's played in the Canadian Football League. He played at Kansas, as Prater said, and that one terrific 2017 campaign on the blue We haven't talked to him for a couple of years. It's been a bit. Montell Cozart with us live on Idaho Sports Talk. Montell, welcome back to Boise and our show. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing amazing. How you guys doing? I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I'm out in Kansas City enjoying the nice fall weather for now. How you guys doing?
Doing really well. Montell's in KC now, getting ready for his USFL season. He wants to become the next great Houston Gamblers quarterback. I think Jim Kelly still has all the records there with the USFL. Let's hope Montell breaks. And Montell, I'm just going to start you out like, what was your memory of that? We have a bunch of questions to ask you, but 2017, you played every single game that season. It wasn't another type of situation. Your role, how difficult it was. What do you think about when you played, Montell, in a 2-quarterback offense?
At first, kind of like what you guys were already harping on before I came onto the show, like the word controversy. And you got a guy like myself who was at the University of Kansas where I experienced some adversity, up and downs, not winning, wanted to play. And then you have Brett, who was at Boise. I think he was a freshman of the year, and had the accolades, and he was doing really well. And so for us two to come in and be able to put our pride to the side and do what we want, do what was best for the team, and go out and lead those guys every Friday or Saturday whenever we were playing. So we can get those W's and, like you said, win a Mountain West championship and then go on to play Oregon and beat those guys in our bowl game. It was awesome. But at first, like you guys said, it was tough. Playing the quarterback position, you want to be the guy, right? So it was definitely a little bit of time spent between Brett and I where we sat down and was like, hey, Coach Harsin wants us to do this, and let's do it, and let's be great for our teammates. And I think that's what also drove our team to be so successful that year.
I certainly want to dive into that relationship. I find it very fascinating because it did seem like it really worked for you guys. The results on the field worked, but I do want to take you back to that first game against Troy, September 2nd, 2017. And, Troy gets the ball the first couple times because Avery Williams had that punt return, and Brett goes out for a series, and it doesn't quite work out. All of a sudden, here comes that second series. Brett completes a pass for 17 yards, and you marched in. How much did you know going into that game, going into that season, how much you would play? Did you expect to play that fast and that quick?
I didn't. I knew going into that game we had some package plays, package personnels when I knew I would get in the game for sure. I didn't know that I would end up finishing that game out with the team. And that game, I think that was the mark of our season between Brett and I. When they made a decision to go with me and finish the game, I told Brett, I said, hey, man, I got you. Like, don't let this situation make it seem like I'm trying to run away with the team or anything like that. I'm in this with you together. So, and I think the next game, it was against Washington State on the road, and Brett got a concussion, and the same thing kind of happened again. And I was like, Brett, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this W for us. And that game, I think, ended up going into 2 or 3 overtime. So those 2 games early in the season, being able to have that adversity just between us two, I think it showed a lot about where our team was going to go that year.
That Troy game, you played the entire fourth quarter, and it was a close game. It was a very close game, and they needed you. And your stats and your play-by-play is spectacular in that fourth quarter. What was the conversation with you and Brett like after that game, and maybe for a couple of days after that, in terms of both of you are probably a little bit surprised you were in this position?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely surprised. Like you said, I didn't know going into that game I was going to be finishing the fourth quarter or anything like that. Like I said, I knew I would have some personnel groupings going into the game. But after that, like I said, we had Brett and I, we sat down, just us two. It was like a Monday, I believe, after the game. And we were getting ready for Washington State. And before we even cut on the film, Brett and I, we just sat down and talked to one another and like, hey, man, we're going to do whatever it takes to be great for the team. Whether, you go out there and throw the ball, I go out there and run the ball, or we go out there and you throw the ball to me and I catch the ball, whatever the case may be. we're going to do whatever it took for us to be successful that year. And then from then on, Brett and I, we were really close. We were hanging out. We were going to dinners. We were hanging out at each other's homes. We were watching film together. Our relationship just grew from then on.
I love it. We're joined by Montell Cozart, former Boise State quarterback, was a grad transfer from Kansas. And back in those days where you get a dude for like 1 year and you want to make it pop. And I mean, these numbers, I mean, he completed 63% of his passes, 754 yards, 10 teeters to 1 pick, ran for 4 touchdowns and 361 yards rushing. Prater, he caught 3 passes for 45 yards, 15 a pop. I mean, how's that in a dual quarterback system the year Montell Cozart had? That's why we still talk about him here in Boise. Montell, what did Coach Harsin say to you in the recruiting process? I mean, did you come here thinking you might not ever get to play, or did Harsin kind of give you some type of promise like, hey, trust me, we're going to find a way to use you? What was it like, Montell? What did you sign up for?
Yeah, it was that second part of the question. It was a promise. It was a promise from Coach Harsin. It was a promise from Coach Zach Hill. And then Darren Usher, the recruiting coordinator that I talked to the most at the time. It was a promise. I told those guys, you know, for me, even coming to Boise, I was putting my practice out because I almost went to Fresno State.
Wow.
where I would have been the guy, you know. So it was for me. I wanted to win. I knew the culture. I knew the winning program at Boise State. I wanted to go there and just win and be successful. And I told those guys that, you know, it wasn't about being the guy for me. It wasn't about taking every snap behind center. And they told me that. And they told me what they had at Boise before I even got there. And I knew of Brett. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of Brett. Just quarterback world is small, so I knew of Brett, and I knew the type of player he was, and I knew what I was coming into. So yeah. I was excited for the role. You know, when the times came for me to get behind center, you know, I embraced it. But, you know, I knew coming in, just through, like you said, the recruiting process from Coach Harsin on down, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into.
What were the weekly conversations like? And we're talking to Montell Cozart, 2017 Boise State quarterback. Don't call him the backup. There was 1A and 1B that year as a 2-quarterback system, and we're going to see it Saturday against San Jose State. But Montell, what was the message from Zach Hill and Brian Harsin in terms of talking to you guys? Did he have open conversations and say everybody's going to play as the season progressed? And you said early on there was kind of a surprise, but as the season progressed, it was very obvious you were both going to play. How did he smooth things over? How did he coach you guys on and off the football field?
Oh, it was like you said, it was 1A, 1B. Brett was my brother, and still is. You know, we still keep in contact. You know, when there was something that was going on the field that Brett experienced and I was on the sideline, when Brett came off, Coach Harsin or Coach Hill was pulling us both to the side, so we both will be on the same page, and so we all as a group could be on the same page. You know, and then when I was out there, you know, I was coming off the field and Brett would ask me what was I seeing and vice versa. So that relationship, like I was saying, just grew as tight as it could be. And you know, Coach Harsin and Coach Hill, they made it easy. When we would have our meetings, it wasn't like I was meeting separately from Brett or Brett was meeting separately from myself. We was in there collectively as a group, all 4 of us. Putting our minds together for whatever opponent we were going to face that week, and try to be successful for our team again.
Quarterback of the Houston Gamblers, USFL, former Boise State quarterback Montell Cozart with us. And Montell, I mean, the way we're talking, the way we're describing, I mean, all the sunshine, puppy dogs, lollipops, how great that 2017 year was, winning a Mountain West championship and a bowl game with class and integrity. Not every quarterback controversy or double quarterback system works out like that. Matter of fact, most don't. Most affect or divide the locker room. They get people into the portal. They get certain people on the team being Team Montell or Team Rypien. Montell, there are some bad stuff that can come with this, correct? And what would that be? What would you warn this team, this locker room? Because that can happen too, right?
No doubt, 100%. Where you you get guys starting leaning one way or leaning towards the other quarterback, or we want this guy to be in, or this guy would have made that read. I would just say, stick with the process and trust it. Especially for the two quarterbacks that are going to be playing. You, like I said, you got to put your pride to the side, and with the coaching staff, this is the route that they want to go. So you guys have to put your minds together, put your athletic ability together to be successful for Boise State. To get the win against San Jose, and then just to keep it rolling after that. But like you said, it can be very controversial. It can break up the locker room. It just takes for those guys to be on one accord. And I would say that it can be done. Let 2017 Boise State Broncos be a testament that it can be done.
Nice. And
Well
as we all know, in 2018, Brett Rypien came back. He had a monster statistical year and did some nice things. I'm very curious about what your role was in 2018. Did you call him? Did you talk to him? Did you just kind of bail and get out of his way for 6 months? How did you treat Brett Rypien that 2018 season?
Yeah, we had talks. And he had kind of, I would say he kind of had his, what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of was vulnerable, I should say. He sat down and was like, "Hey, Montell, 2017 was tough for me, coming off the years that he had. He knew that they were bringing in myself, and he felt like he didn't perform up to where he was performing before, based on just kind of the two quarterback system, and then splitting reps. But he also shared with me that it showed him a lot of just the character kind of that I brought into the locker room, and I made it okay to compete again, and I made it okay to come in and like I've just been saying this whole time, put your pride to the side and do what was best for the team. And he said that helped him just go out there next year and just play fast and not have to worry about anything. And he just complimented me on that, and I did the same thing from myself to him. Coming into Boise State, like I said, I knew what I was getting myself into. And then when the time came for me to be behind center, and he was still right there in my corner, it just showed me that there are some guys out there that you root for each other. You want everybody to be great, and you want everyone to be successful. But yeah, Brad and I, we're still cool. We're still close to this day. I'm still keeping up with him, and he's doing the same.
I love it.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a great relationship.
Yeah, he's in the NFL. You're on the USFL, still both playing professional quarterback. And I'll tell you this, guys, the one game Montell Cozart started when Rip was hurt, 15 for 19. That's 79% completion percentage, $137 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 71 yards rushing, and a touchdown there, too, against New Mexico. The Montell Cozart show. And he's still balling. Montell, hopefully we can bring you back on if this quarterback controversy, 2-quarterback system continues to succeed, or maybe if it doesn't. We know you'll be keeping close tabs on it, so we'll keep your number close, Montell. Get ready for that USFL season with the Houston Gamblers, and we'll bring you back on at some point. Always appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys always reaching out, and it's been awesome. 2017 changed my life. It changed my career. When I was at the University of Kansas, like I said, I experienced the adversity. Going to Boise, I was able to get back on I was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel a little bit. So it's been awesome since then. Boise State has been awesome since then. Even now that I'm gone, guys like yourself and the talk show still reaching out and just appreciative of everything that I kind of brought to the team, and I thank you guys for that as well. And I need to get back out to Boise and get back on the blue and see those guys. I know Taylen and I we follow each other on social media, so I'm gonna try to send them some words of encouragement this weekend going into San Jose.
I love that. Listen to that. Montell Cozart's going to reach out to TG10 and say, "Hey, man, you got this. Don't worry about it." Montell, we appreciate you, man, and we'll keep bringing you back on. You had only 1 year, but it made it feel like 2 or 3. Well done, Montell, as always.
I appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one.
That's our video segment 2, and it's brought to you by the Dollar Loan Center. They funded loans for 25 years. Visit don'tbebroke.com. Quick, inexpensive, safe, regulated, and thrilled to be opening 16. Yes, 16 locations here in Idaho. That's don'tbebroke.com. Prater, good stuff there, man. Lots to unpack here. And the Big Ten. Have you seen the future schedule? These are conference games that we're going to get in college football. Wait, next year? Holy smokes. Let's talk about this on Idaho Sports KTIK, The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.
It's a busy